So many of you have asked me to review the France Vikings trailer, which has exclusive footage and scenes that we don't get in our one. So I've cut this trailer up and just found the bits that have new footage we haven't covered before, and I'm going to talk about those right now. So we saw two little bits of this when we had the first trailer, but we see more clearly that she's seeing a snake pit, she's falling from that cage, she's running around looking a bit out of her mind, and this could be her doing one of two things. Either history is kind of repeating itself, and she's found herself in a very similar situation to the end of Ragnar, which I find very unlikely because we just don't see any other characters around this area. There would be people rounding up and putting in this cage, people yelling at her. She seems to be by herself, and the area is abandoned. So the second and more likely outcome is that she's come across where Ragnar died. She sees the cage, the area, the snake pit, everything, and she sees where her husband died. Now it's clear that they're going for some kind of weird seer vision flashback state, where she sees an item or a cage and she kind of goes into this vision where she places herself on where she believes Ragnar would be. She sees the cage and would imagine Ragnar up there. She imagines Ragnar falling. She's running around. She's in this like vision catatonic state and she doesn't know what's going on. This shows a really strong spiritual connection she still has to Ragnar and her kind of seeing the way he ended, and that could motivate her to remember his death and make other decisions that she would have in his name later on the season, or it could just be an homage to him. We may even get a flashback of him coming in and talking to her in some kind of vision way, and that'd be really cool because we could see the actor that plays Ragnar Travis again. So there was a few things I also saw. I saw this little hooded figure way back in the distance here, so that could be like a real life character following her, or just some more symbolism that she feels like she's been watched and followed and haunted and trying to, messing with her mind. Also, I bet this is going to end with the classic stereotype of her kind of freaking out, not being in the right mind, the music's blaring, and then a hand touches her shoulder. She turns around and boom, it's Björn. He's like woken her out of this state. Either way, interesting scene. Can't wait to see it in the actual Vikings, which is really, really close at this point. So for a while now, myself and many of you guys have been saying the seer could probably die this season, and we see more and more of that symbolism even in this trailer as we go forward. I think it's more interesting to see what kind of impact it'll have before he dies, rather than just knowing the fact that he will die. We see Judith with some kind of war paint on her face, so she's getting prepared to do something dark or lead some men or say some kind of speech, so dark times are coming in England still. We get more of Ivar's men looking scary, we get more of Ivar looking scary. Then we get these two back-to-back shots of someone throwing a bucket to ignite a fire where there's someone getting hanged up, and then there's a shot of the seer getting burned in a close-up. But we know this is just a trick from them trying to compare the two shots when really they're two different things entirely. He clearly looks like he's on the ground and he's getting burnt in like some kind of funeral, where the guy getting hanged upside down and burnt to death is a totally different situation. Alright, so we see Freya, his new wife, this really interesting manipulative character we've seen introduced very recently for this new season. That's going to play a big role in kind of shaping Ivar's tyrant-ing and his control and really adding to his character. Now we see her stabbing him in the chest with a knife. Like many of the other things we get in Vikings, I think this is not a literal portrayal of something that's happening. I don't think she's actually stabbing him and trying to kill him here. This is more like a vision scene thing, like when we see them cut to Ivar holding the knife to Victor's throat, and then he transports him from the room where they're actually in to this river and all over the place. It's not really where they are, it's just kind of this effect they use to show the emotional impact of something that's happened, a word that was said, or some kind of confrontation. So this could probably quite easily represent her stabbing him in the heart, saying something that really cuts deep to his emotional feelings, or her betraying him somehow. And this definitely can be quite big, because all the footage we've seen so far shows she's going to be a big crutch on him this entire season. She's constantly goading him to do things and trying to control him and manipulate him, putting herself squarely at his side. So that's something we definitely need to look for in this coming season. Harold is still going to be a big fighting figure in this season. Things are only going to get more violent and dangerous in Iceland with Floki. The threat against Lagertha has only just begun. Uber will face more challenges and hardship both emotionally and physically than ever before. Heckman will kill and struggle and suffer for his love of Lagertha. And the Viking and Saxon worlds will collide in the biggest showdown Vikings has ever presented to us. And I guarantee it's going to be epic. Skull.